Hey there, how y'all doing? I've had some pretty powerful experiences today, so I'm going to try and keep this short and to the point, the still point of a true vacuum. Temperature gauge, pump operator, water worlds. And so I'm going to say a few things without saying the rest of it, and I figure y'all know what I'm talking about. The founder races, crisis intervention security teams, as that relates to codes and mathematical encryption through God Source Eternal, the God Source field, eternal life force field. And so I've had a couple of contacts over the last couple of days, and this is pretty interesting. And I shared quite a bit of it in other windows with other native spirits that I know, but I'm not going to go into that level of detail on this phone. I try and keep this as simple as I can. But I'm going to share with you an experience that I had because I got a reply today from somebody that I knew when I was in high school. So this goes back to like 1966, was it, Mama? So these are bits and bytes. These are like what I call part files, memory-driven file programs, the archive. Okay. So we all know what the 66 and 2/3 is, what the B system is, blank slate memory wide. Graviton, sextant, distorted clock. It's not a cosmic clock. Okay. Machine codes. Remember? Trapped in the machine, the ghost in the machine. Oh, Mr. Wizard. Remember Bullwinkle? Yeah. Okay. So in 1966, I was a student at Foothill High School in Tustin, California. Okay. And I met a guy by the name of Michael Collins. And Michael Collins, this was the time when they were building muscle cars, Hot Rod Magazine, NHRA, all those programs. How many programs can you run? Well, how big is your memory field? Oh, the memory field. How about an eternal capacitor? Oh, an eternal calculator. How much can you calculate? How fast are you going? I'm not going anywhere. I never left home. I'm a figment of your imagination. I don't really exist because nothing's happened yet. Well, how do you create something out of nothing? That's magic. That's the eternal source field. That's the one I serve. Waya. So Michael Collins used to have a 1957 Chevy. It was a 283 cubic inch engine, right? A noisemaker. They boarded out to a 327, and they had a Hurst 4-speed with 2 4-barrel carburetors and a heavy-duty clutch. So this guy could really motor and burn some rubber. Oh, man. Right? But he was a nice guy. There was not an aggressive bone in his body that I was experiencing, reading what it feels like to be in the presence of his energy, his mind's energy. And him and I became friends with a guy named Dan O'Connor, who went to the same high school. And this high school, by the way, I've shared this story before. They expelled me out of there. And that's a whole other story I've shared in another video, why that happened. It was all on the timeline. It was all by divine right mathematical sequences, divine right timing that only God's source can know. Okay? But you can go back in the archives at Orange County Register and find out on, I think it was 1966, where the Orange County Sheriff Department bomb squad showed up. And they weren't allowing any of us into the school, right? Because there was a bomb that was set to go off in 10 minutes in the vice principal's office, and he was known as the disciplinator, the dominator, the CIA domino effect. Full spectrum dominance, right? Space Command, QI Space Command, QI codes, Cybernet, Borg Cube Ship, ring a bell? Borgia Matrix, Quarantine, ring a bell? Right? And as that relates to the mother galaxy, why we're all here now. And so Michael Collins I and Dan Connor went to that school. And so when we came back to the school the next day, you could see SWAT stickers painted all over the walls in this school. And this was a relatively new school. Somebody had taken a 50 caliber machine gun and just destroyed the inside of the gymnasium. Okay. And that bomb was set to go off to take out the vice principal. And I remember at that time they were telling us that he was Jewish. Okay. Who did that? And why would they do that? Now, I've shared this before on another video. Do you all know who Martin Bormann is? Remember who Martin Bormann is? Any of you study the Nazis? You know what a party chief is. Not an Indian chief. This is called a party chief, like a political party. Not Trump's party. That's a different party. You know, gazoos, do. Martin Bormann was the Nazi party chief, otherwise known as the Inner Circle, with Adolf Hitler. Remember who Goebbels was? Propaganda minister. Himmler. Those guys, those folks, those demons. That's what they had on their helmet. Demons. They're demons. Okay? So they're letting everybody know they're demons. They wear it on their sleeves. The U.S. military wears it on their sleeves, for Christ's sakes. For a crystal star's sake. The body of Christ is the crystal star. You got to mathematically translate, like a quartz crystal on the beach. The crystal spiral. The crystal body. The whole crystal body. The sum of the whole, all the parts. The sum of all electrical power. The sum of all life force power. How about the sum of all star power? All stars have a home. Home base is center point, like center field, the first field. That's the field my consciousness lives in forever and always, in service to all of you. So I don't want to hold on to any power, right? So I don't experience any power. Now I do. And when I do, I'm giving it all away as fast as I can. Remember hot potato? You're running too hot. Well, I need a coolant. Welcome to the world of water. Water worlds. And cells. Cells love water. Yeah. Water-hungry molecules. The spirit in the molecule. Yes, of course. The spirit is on fire in the molecule. Light it on fire. That's what flame activation is. So as it turned out, I located Michael Collins and I hooked up. Whoa, I haven't heard from you since, my gosh, how many ages? Then he asked me about Dan O'Connor. Where's Dan? Dan was a teddy bear. I mean, he was just a treasure. You would have loved Dan to be in Dan's presence. It's peaceful energy. It's sharing energy. It's like, wow, Dan, buddies. You know, engines and engineers that love to be around other engines that feel good to be with. You're running some good codes, bud. And so as it turned out, he asked me, where's Dan? Oh, gosh. You really want me to pull that file up? Okay, so here's the file share on that. When I was about 15 years of age, now this is before my father at 5 years of age taught me how to fly a jet airplane. You know who all Grumman Aircraft is. My dad hopped me aboard the USS Saratoga down in San Diego. That's where it was parked. And I was hoisted up into that jet. And my dad was a former World War II Navy scout fighter pilot and flew Corsairs and all that stuff, right? Obsolete tech operators. But my dad had me hoisted up into his lap. And there's a stick right in front of me. And so my dad showed me how to fly an F-9F Panther at 5 years of age. Cool, Pop. So my dad was always taking me for a ride. My dad was a Blue Angel. Blue eyes. Blue flame. Operate the blue flame. Burn a gas. And so fast forward, put it into fast forward, future proofs past, back to the future. Right? Future tense, past tense, present tense. How do you create something out of nothing? Simple. Love. Pure, eternal, absolute love. That's pure magic because that's pure fire because that's what heals us all equally. Now we're experiencing being one, which is oneness with the first flame operator. Oh, the first operator. Yeah, dial 0. The first plasma tones, the eternal plasma tones. Oh, the eternal sun, the silver and gold mated one. Yes. And so when Dan said, you can drive my car because you want to practice to drive because they want you to pay to play the game because they're gonna charge you for a permit. Oh, to drive. Okay, we can play this game. We know how this game is played. So he said, you can drive my car tonight. So him and I and another friend drove down to a place called Peters Canyon Road. And you can look it up. There's some occult history on Peters Canyon Road in Orange County, near a place called Irvine Ranch, which at the time was pretty rolling hills, a lot of eucalyptus trees, orange groves, avocado groves, lemon groves, right? But it was all patrolled and dominated by folks that wear stars. Okay, so we went down off the paved road where it was on a little dirt road, and he said, okay, Robert, now you can drive. So I jumped in the driver's seat. And as we began driving down the road, it was a little foggy out. And then all of a sudden, as I was explaining to Lisa, white buffalo woman, another native spirit, I was experiencing what I already know is in my presence. And it's called alien intelligence. Okay? And what I did is I realized that I'm not driving this car anymore. And it's not like I need to get a test result, like testing the logic of a machine, how it works, how it operates, its mathematical table. So I took my hands off the steering wheel and I took my foot off the accelerator. And sure enough, I looked down there and the accelerator is still down and it's moving at 25 miles an hour without my foot on the accelerator. Okay. And not only that, but as we were coming around a turn, the steering wheel turned by itself. Whoa, I'm not driving this car, Dan. So when I look to the right, as I'm getting ready to say, Dan, I'm not driving this car, Dan wasn't there. Where did Dan go? Well, there was something else that took that place. Oh, a swap out, like a holographic insert. What do you think it was? Go look at some of the patches with US QI Cybernetic Space Command. And you'll see some of those patches that say Merlin and Wizard and Warlocks. And I look at an image that looked like death warmed over because I'm experiencing Shona light, which is dead light in my presence. We know what it feels like to be in the presence of bad energy. It's dead. That's not a live one. And it doesn't look like a live one either when it looks like a warlock. So it looked like somebody excavated a corpse that had been sitting there for 1,000 years. Now it's animated, like Animus. It's animated. Wow, I'm looking at a warlock with long, gray, white, straggly hair and these teeth that look like something out of Wizard of Oz, one of those scary books. You know how it is with Dark Mother Grid Creations? Something like that can be manifested in the field. When they show you that stuff as a memory-driven program. And it was sitting there looking at me and it communicated to me telepathically. Did not say a word. But I got the communication. And you know what it said to me? I have you right where I want you. You are in a state of absolute fear. It's like you're immobilized. Phase locked. Now I'm sucking all your life force energy out of you. Okay. I jumped out of that car, doing about 25 miles an hour, did the old tuck and roll like a smoke jumper does, and I ran home all the way without stopping. Now, the next day, Dan comes up to me and says, Robert, where did you go? I didn't go anywhere, Dan. Where did you go? Dan doesn't remember a thing. All he remembered was the last time that he saw me when I was in the car with him. He doesn't remember anything after what I described when I first realized that the car had a mind of its own. Fourth abductions, blank slate memory wipe technology. They didn't wipe my memory. They can't wipe our memories. That's why we're here. Okay? They can't wipe the permanent records of God Source Eternal. That's why we're here. That's what a cosmic clock reset is. That's the truth of it. And that is good news, isn't it? Celebrate. We celebrate life with pure, eternal, absolute love. That's the flame dance. That's flame activation. That's the 13th Starfire Light cycle. That's why we're here. Ah, yeah.